here we are. And Chuck, beginning with the Sundowns game, right? Sundowns against Ahly. That one ended 0-0 in a not so convincing performance from Sundowns. And the coach, Miguel Cardoso, suggests that maybe what Sundowns needed, a little extra 20% would have come from the crowd, saying that Loftus is a beautiful stadium and it's a pity to see it not full filled to capacity. And that is something that would have helped. Do you think fair or foul for Miguel Cardoso to suggest that the Sundowns fans could have done better in filling up the stadium?
Foul, because it's Easter weekend. I mean, people are all over the country and they're thinking and doing other things that are not football related. So I think, unfortunately, the calendar dates clashed. I think if it was a week prior, a week after, maybe his call would have fallen on ears that were necessarily guilty of not participating. But I think it's a crazy time during that Easter period. But outside of that, Jay, I think it's a fair enough call because I've seen Lucas Morepe Stadium filled to capacity when Sundowns were playing certain.
Wait, so you're saying it's fair or foul?
I said because of the weekend, I think it's foul because it was a weird Pabantu. But if we take that out of the equation and just generally look at the tie, I've seen Loftus when Sundowns beat Ahly 5-0. It was packed to capacity, meaning that the people are there. The people can come out and fill up Loftus Stadium. So because there's a precedent, number one, and number two, it is a big tie where people have previously come through and shown up. When you played Esperance last season, I think it was almost close to capacity when Sundowns couldn't go over the line when they drew that game. So the numbers suggest that people can come through and fill up that stadium. Also because, Jay, if you think about, well, my personal preference is the songs and the drum. I say Sundowns. That's different. The songs that are sung maybe only rivaled by Bloemfontein Celtic. Obviously, you've got Orlando and the noise, right, and just how it echoes around the entire arena and the feeling of that, right. But in terms of a good time and just understand that we're here to support Mamelodi Sundowns because they're singing throughout the entire game. There are people who are not even watching the game because their job is to rev up and rile out the crowd and make sure that the song and dance just keeps going on. And if you have that, I think it's a festive atmosphere. It's one that says to Sundowns players that we're behind you all the way. I mean, even with half the stadium full, those guys will still be present. Those guys will still play that song. But it's one thing if it's like 20,000 versus 50,000 who are singing. So I do understand that, Jay, because people have come in. There have been incentives like if you're wearing a yellow jersey, you can come in for free, or it's only 10 Rand to come in, just to make sure that Loftus is full, right? And Jay, I understand that generally speaking, because what he contrasted was the fact that if you go to Algeria, to Tunis, and where they're actually going to go in Cairo, the stadium's going to be packed. You're going to see tifos, you're going to see, like when I was watching Paris against MC Algiers, there was one section that was just dressed in white, one section that was dressed in black. I was like, so much coordination, so much effort for this particular game. It didn't help them because that's the tie that they lost. But nonetheless, they were there in support, right? And when you look at the fact that we don't tend to fill up our stadiums all the time. Loftus doesn't tend to be filled up all the time, or Lucas Morepe and Sundowns go there. But in certain cases, in certain occasions, as the fans, you need to understand that, guys, this is a critical part of this critical phase in the season. This is a big tie. We need everyone to be there, all hands on deck kind of a thing, right? And so for that reason, Jay, I think it's a fair call to say, guys, yeah, maybe you're not there against Magis. Maybe you're not there against Chiefs in the early game. Actually, you were there against Chiefs. When there wasn't much on the line, because Sundowns have a bit of a window where maybe if they lose the game against Chiefs, they can still contend for the league. Sundowns can lose those points, but because it's Chiefs and it's a big game, fans turn out. Yes, the other part is true that some of them are Chiefs fans as well, which equates to why the stadium is full. But when there are big games or when there's something that is big related to Mamelodi Sundowns, the fans turn up. So I think, Jay, it's a fair cry to say that I've been to stadiums as the coach. I've been to stadiums where Sundowns has played and it's been full. Where are you now? And so I think Sundowns needed that extra man. And I think Cardoso's comments are fair.
The question you're asking, where are you now? Like, in the past, I've been critical of Sundowns fans because Magtiwa Chuck, wear a yellow shirt, free entrance. It's over capacity. That game you're referring to against Ahly, it was over capacity. Like where we were sitting, there were people who were blocking the tunnel, right, in and out. And because, as I'm saying, there were more people than the stadium could hold, and that's because people were like, it was a free entrance. Whereas when Sundowns fans have been asked to buy tickets previously, those very same people, now they don't. And what I have called for is rather than making it for free, because I don't like the security detail around that. There's absolutely none whatsoever. At some point when you walk around the stadium, you can see people are coming in and out, and some people are not even there to watch the match, and even that mandate of you need to be wearing yellow, that's out the window as well. So I want control in terms of capacity. And my whole thing is because, ironically, there are more people than the stadium can hold. So in order to try combat that, to control that, you need to be issuing tickets. And not in the way that Sundowns have done it, like, toli ticket saloon, like, we're not from Pretoria, we don't even know where that is. And how do you expect like 50,000 people to go to like 5 locations within the city? Again, that doesn't make any sense. And my suggestion was you keep it the same way as you do normal games, right? Whether the tickets are free or they priced at a very low price, do that. Even if they're free, you say you come there to the counter and you say, or whether it's online, you get your tickets, and when you've reached capacity, you reach capacity. And then you've got a full crowd and happy days. Everybody who needs to be inside will produce a ticket. And what Sundowns did for this match is that they charged tickets at 20 Rand, right? Where normally tickets go for 40, 60 Rand, 100 Rand for the big games. This is the cheapest ticket going around for a Sundowns match. And that was a victory in my mind in terms of the way I want them to do it, because you are still selling tickets. You're going to control into the number of people who come to the stadium, but also you are making it accessible to those people who, for whatever reasons, their financial situations, are able to come when it's free versus when it is priced at the normal prices. And if it was any other time, Chuck, and those things were met on the Sundowns side, I would be disappointed as well. But the fact is, it was Easter weekend. Loftus Stadium is situated in Pretoria, which is in Gauteng. And if you are out there, you're not from South Africa, and don't know much about Gauteng, it is a migrant town. In terms of the people who have settled in this province, there's still a large majority who have amakaya somewhere else. And when you have long weekends, especially Christmas and Easter time, they leave. I mean, you were driving around this weekend, and if you go out on the roads in Joburg or Pretoria on those highways, nothing like what you experience on normal days, right? Because people are gone. Yeah. So that's number one. Like, abantu bebangeko. And those who were maybe around, again, it's Easter time. Whether they went to church or they were at home or they went to Groove, there's so much happening in that weekend that it's not fair as a result. And that's why I'd say it's foul to expect a full crowd, like to expect that Loftus will be 50,000 deep, But the other thing, Chuck, is the fact that because of what happened against Esperance, right?
Yeah.
There was a whole section that was cordoned off. And you could see it on the broadcast, and the people who were at the stadium said the same thing, that you just weren't allowed to go there because they were trying to separate the fans of Sundowns and the fans of Ahly, who were in that section that we tend to see the away fans sitting in, right? So that was never going to have any people. So it wasn't a matter of people weren't there to occupy that space. And generally speaking, under all those conditions, I honestly do think that the turnout was relatively good. Also, Chuck, C57. Doesn't this coach know C57? Like, Usfunani, like, don't you know? Don't you know? But on the real, I do think the conditions of the date and everything around those festivities, as well as the fact that there was a part of the stadium that just couldn't be filled. And then when you looked at how many people were in the stadium, I think that was as much as you could expect. So as a result, I'd say it's a little foul from Miguel Cardoso.